LBC News.
LBC News time on this Saturday morning is 7:33. So, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the 54th Earth Day is being marked around the world. Rallies, tree planting and demands for action against climate change. Climate protesters have organised a mass protest in London, urging the government to do more to combat climate change. Let's bring in Avinav Nigam now, a co-founder and chief operating officer of IMMO, technology-led residential real estate platform. Thank you very much indeed for your time today. Scientists clearly warning of more extreme weather this year, mainly due to raising CO2 emissions. Now, in the UK, the housing stock we know is old. Yeah. Average home, I think, according to calculations, estimated to produce more than 2 tonnes of CO2 a year. That seems quite a lot, doesn't it?
That is lovely to be here, Nick. Thanks for having me. It is quite a difficult situation. We have supposed to hit net zero by 2050. 20% of the greenhouse emissions actually come from buildings, and as we all know, UK's housing stock is one of the leakiest and one of the oldest, worst performing from a heat point of view in Europe. And actually, some of the stuff that the government has done around heat pumps and subsidies around Eco Plus and so on have not actually had as much of an uptake. So what actually needs to happen is the average EPC rating of the housing stock in the UK is actually average of between D and E. And what needs to happen within the next few years that the government actually has proposed is to get everything up to EPC C. And even that is not sufficient. Actually needs to get to an EPC B. Now, to do all of that, the retrofit requirement for the UK is in the ballpark of £150 billion of cost. Because just to do a small mid-terraced house ends up costing, a retrofit would cost around £7,000. Detached houses would cost around £12,500. So I think what is really the problem is there's a large gap between what the funding that is being offered from a government point of view versus what is actually required to turn this around. And unless there is some form of investment, say institutions such as private sector starts to get involved together with the government, I don't think there's enough confidence that we can actually get to this point because, any sort of, EPC upgrades require the buy-to-let landlords, the institution owners, owner-occupiers, everybody to start to work hand in hand. But unless we see more momentum on this, which we have not seen so far in the previous budget, I really don't think that we're in good shape here.
Are you going to be out and about then today, making your views heard?
I think we absolutely will be, but I think the way to do this is to open up more dialogue with the government, and that's something that we're hoping we can do. At IMMO, we actually are partnering with the largest of institutions like pension funds, insurance companies, private equity players, in order to find ways to invest into the UK's housing stock, to retrofit and improve the quality, as well as being able to provide an affordable rental solution to a lot of renters out there.
Yeah, when you talk about retrofitting, it does sound quite complicated, doesn't it? Does it need to be?
Not at all. Actually, some of the simplest retrofits, majority of the stock can be improved by just improving the windows, by changing the windows, or by adding simple roof insulation. You don't even need to go as far as, adding solar panels or heat exchange pumps. I mean, heat exchange pumps can help, but in many cases they actually don't really help to improve the rating. So it's often very, very simple. A couple of work that needs to be done. I do think that there is less awareness on this topic, which is something that I think is starting to happen if we can provide audits to end consumers, people who own their properties. It actually can be a very simple way to tell them, hey, even just with these two changes, you can improve your rating from a 61 average, which is D, to 69 average, which is C.
You're going to tell me this has to be done now before it's too late?
It has to be done now before it's too late, 100%.
All All right, well, thank you. Let's see if your call is taken up, shall we? Thanks very much indeed for your time today. I appreciate you joining us on this, quite early on this Saturday morning, isn't it? Avinav Nigam from IMMO. Thanks very much indeed for your time. It is 7:38.